Most traders believe the difference between becoming rich or staying broke is strategy. It is not. Two people can trade the exact same chart, use the exact same setup, and risk the exact same amount of money. One quietly builds wealth, while the other slowly destroys every opportunity placed in front of them. The market did not choose a winner. Their mindset did. That hidden difference shapes every decision you make before you even click the buy or sell button. It decides whether you panic, whether you overtrade, whether you chase losses, and whether you can stay disciplined when everyone else is falling apart. In this video, you will discover why millionaire traders think about money in a completely different way, how ego secretly keeps most traders trapped in an endless cycle of frustration, why patience creates more profit than constant action, the emotional habit that separates professionals from gamblers, and the identity shift that changes trading from a stressful battle into a long-term business. These lessons are not about predicting the market. They are about transforming the person making the decisions, because once your mind changes, your behavior changes. When your behavior changes, your results begin to change. By the end of this video, you may realize the biggest obstacle between you and consistent profits was never the market. It was the mindset you brought into it every single day. Chapter 1, the first decision. Why broke traders chase money while millionaire traders chase mastery. Imagine two traders sitting in front of identical screens. They have the same charts, they have access to the same information, they can see the same opportunities appear every single day. Yet 5 years from now, one of them will quietly build wealth while the other will still be searching for the next miracle strategy. What created that difference was never the market. It was the very first decision they made before placing a single trade. Most people enter trading with one thought echoing through their minds: I need to make money. It sounds reasonable. It even sounds smart. But that single thought becomes the trap that keeps them poor. Every chart becomes a chance to get rich. Every candle becomes a promise. Every losing trade feels like an attack on their future. They are not trading. They are begging the market to solve their financial problems. And the market never rewards desperation. Understand this. The market does not care about your bills. It does not care about your dreams. It does not care how badly you want to escape your job. It only reflects who you are when money is on the line. The broke trader wakes up asking, how much can I make today? The millionaire trader wakes up asking, how well can I execute my process today? Those questions sound almost identical, but they produce completely different lives. One is obsessed with the outcome. The other is obsessed with the process. One measures success by today's profit. The other measures success by today's discipline. This is where everything changes. When money becomes your only goal, every decision becomes emotional. A small loss feels unbearable because it delays your dream. A winning trade feels intoxicating because it feeds your hope. Soon you stop following your rules. You move stop losses because you cannot accept being wrong. You enter random trades because sitting still feels like wasting time. You double your position because one big win will fix everything. That voice inside your head keeps whispering, just one more trade, just this once. But it is never just once. It becomes a habit. It becomes your identity. It becomes the reason your account never grows. Let me tell you something that most traders never realize. Millionaire traders love money, but they do not worship it. They understand that money is a byproduct, not the mission. Their real mission is becoming the kind of person who deserves consistent profits. They chase mastery because mastery produces money. They chase discipline because discipline protects money. They chase emotional control because emotional control compounds money. The broke trader wants the reward before earning the character required to keep it. That is why even when they experience a big win, it disappears. Fast money usually leaves as fast as it arrives because the mindset never changed. Think about any profession in the world. A surgeon spends years mastering every movement before touching a patient. An athlete repeats the same fundamentals thousands of times before stepping into a championship game. A musician practices in empty rooms long before performing on a stage. Yet somehow, people enter trading believing they can skip mastery and go straight to wealth. They search for shortcuts. They buy indicators. They jump from one strategy to another. They blame the market every time they lose. What they never question is the person staring back at them in the mirror. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: your account balance is often a reflection of your current mindset. It reflects your patience. It reflects your ability to stay calm under pressure. It reflects your willingness to accept losses without revenge. The market is not punishing you. It is revealing you. It is showing you your habits. It is showing you your emotions. It is showing you your true relationship with money. That is why millionaire traders are not obsessed with finding perfect trades. They are obsessed with becoming better decision makers. Every loss becomes feedback. Every mistake becomes a lesson. Every trading day becomes another opportunity to sharpen their mind instead of feeding their ego. While everyone else is chasing quick profits, they are quietly building something far more valuable. They are building a version of themselves that remains calm when others panic, patient when others rush, and disciplined when others gamble. That transformation cannot be bought. It cannot be copied. It cannot be downloaded from a course or hidden inside an indicator. It is earned through countless moments when nobody is watching. Every time you choose patience over impulse, you move closer to mastery. Every time you follow your plan instead of your emotions, you strengthen the identity of a professional. Every time you accept a loss without chasing it back, you prove that discipline is becoming stronger than ego. This is the first decision that separates millionaire traders from broke traders. One chooses money as a destination. The other chooses mastery as the path, knowing that wealth naturally follows those who become worthy of managing it. But making that decision is only the beginning, because there is another enemy hiding much deeper than the desire for money, and it silently destroys traders long before they ever realize what is happening. That enemy has a name, and almost every struggling trader protects it without even knowing it. Chapter 2, The Invisible Enemy. How ego keeps broke traders stuck, and humility makes millionaire traders dangerous. What if the biggest reason you keep losing has nothing to do with your strategy, your indicators, or even the market itself? What if the real enemy has been sitting beside you every single day, quietly influencing every decision you make, while convincing you that it is actually protecting you? That enemy is your ego. And the most dangerous thing about ego is that it never introduces itself as a problem. It introduces itself as confidence. It whispers that you already know enough. It tells you that this trade cannot fail. It convinces you that the market is wrong and you are right. Then, before you even realize what is happening, you stop following your plan and start defending your opinions. This is where countless traders become trapped. They stop trading probabilities and start trading their identity. Every losing trade feels personal because their ego cannot separate being wrong from feeling worthless. They do not simply lose money. They feel as though they have lost respect. That is why they refuse to close losing positions. They keep moving their stop loss further away, hoping the market will eventually prove them right. Not because it is a smart decision, but because admitting they were wrong hurts more than losing money. Understand this. The market has no interest in validating your opinions. It does not reward confidence without discipline. It does not care how much analysis you completed before entering a trade. It only responds to reality. Reality does not negotiate with ego. It simply exposes it. The broke trader spends more energy trying to be right than trying to make good decisions. The millionaire trader knows those are two completely different goals. He understands that being wrong is not failure. Staying wrong is failure. There is enormous freedom in accepting that you cannot control the market. The moment you stop trying to predict every move, you begin focusing on managing every decision. That is where professionals separate themselves from everyone else. They are not emotionally attached to any single trade because they know one trade means nothing. They think in hundreds of trades, not one. Their confidence comes from consistency, not certainty. But ego cannot think that way. Ego wants immediate proof. Ego wants every trade to confirm that it is intelligent. Ego wants to feel superior. That is why it constantly compares itself to other traders. It celebrates when someone else loses and becomes frustrated when someone else succeeds. Instead of learning, it competes. Instead of improving, it defends itself. Let me tell you something. The market is one of the few places where intelligence alone is not enough. You can be brilliant and still lose money if your ego refuses to adapt. You can read every trading book ever written, memorize every pattern, and still destroy your account. Because knowledge without humility becomes arrogance. Arrogance is expensive. It convinces you to increase position size after a few wins because you feel unstoppable. It convinces you to ignore your risk rules because this trade looks perfect. It convinces you to revenge trade because the market owes you something. But the market owes you nothing. Every time you believe you have finally mastered it, the market has a way of reminding you that uncertainty is permanent. Millionaire traders understand this deeply. That is why they stay humble even after years of success. They know the next trade can lose. They know a winning streak does not make them invincible. They know confidence should come from following the process, not from predicting outcomes. This humility makes them incredibly dangerous because they are always learning. They review their mistakes without making excuses. They ask difficult questions. They search for weaknesses instead of hiding from them. While the broke trader protects his ego, the millionaire trader protects his discipline. There is a massive difference. One protects feelings, the other protects results. Imagine two traders after taking the exact same loss. The first trader immediately blames market manipulation, bad luck, fake breakouts, or someone else's advice. Anything except himself. His ego cannot accept responsibility because responsibility feels painful. The second trader quietly opens his journal. He studies his execution. He asks whether he followed his rules, whether his emotions influenced the decision, and what he can improve before tomorrow. Both traders experienced the same loss, but only one became better because of it. The other simply became more bitter. Growth begins the moment excuses end. That is why humility is not weakness. Humility is strength under control. It gives you the courage to admit mistakes before they become disasters. It allows you to exit a bad trade without turning it into a catastrophic one. It reminds you that protecting your capital is more important than protecting your pride. Every professional trader eventually reaches a moment when they realize the market is not their opponent. Their own ego is. Once they understand that, everything begins to change. They stop chasing the feeling of being right and start chasing the habit of making disciplined decisions. They no longer need every trade to boost their confidence because their confidence comes from something much stronger. It comes from knowing they can trust themselves to follow their process regardless of the outcome. That is true emotional freedom. But even after mastering ego, another challenge remains. It is quieter, more subtle, and often disguised as hard work. It convinces traders that constant action creates constant progress, when in reality it destroys both patience and profit. And that invisible trap is where the next great divide between broke traders and millionaire traders begins. Chapter 3, the patience gap. Why one trader waits for the perfect opportunity while the other forces every trade. Picture a hunter standing silently in the middle of a forest. Hours pass without movement. The wind changes direction. The sun begins to disappear behind the trees. Most people would think he is doing nothing. But the experienced hunter knows something the impatient person never understands. Waiting is part of the hunt. In trading, the same truth separates those who quietly build fortunes from those who constantly drain their accounts. The broke trader believes activity creates success. The millionaire trader knows that selective action creates success. That single difference changes everything. Most struggling traders wake up feeling they have to make something happen. They sit in front of the charts with pressure already building inside their minds. They tell themselves, if I do not trade today, I am wasting time. That thought becomes dangerous because it transforms patience into discomfort. Suddenly, every tiny market movement looks like an opportunity. Every candle becomes an invitation. Every small fluctuation feels impossible to ignore. Before long, they convince themselves that a mediocre setup is good enough. Then another trade appears. Then another. By the end of the day, they are emotionally exhausted, financially frustrated, and wondering why their account keeps shrinking. The painful irony is that they were incredibly busy, but they accomplished almost nothing. Understand this. Movement is not progress. Activity is not productivity. More trades do not automatically create more profits. In fact, for most traders, the opposite is true. The more they force the market, the more the market exposes their impatience. The millionaire trader understands something that the broke trader refuses to accept. The best trade is often the one you never take. That idea sounds strange because society teaches us that success belongs to those who constantly hustle, work harder, move faster, never stop. But trading operates under different rules. Here, restraint often beats aggression. Silence often beats noise. Waiting often beats acting. The market rewards those who can remain calm while everyone else feels the need to participate. Let me tell you something. Every unnecessary trade has an invisible cost. It does not only take money from your account, it steals confidence, it drains emotional energy, it weakens your discipline. Every impulsive decision teaches your brain that breaking your rules is acceptable. Soon your standards begin to fall. Setups that once looked average suddenly appear attractive because your patience has disappeared. You stop waiting for high-quality opportunities because your mind becomes addicted to action. That addiction is dangerous. It feels productive, but it quietly destroys consistency. Think about a professional sniper. He does not fire because he is bored. He does not pull the trigger simply because he has ammunition. He waits. He observes. He controls his breathing. He understands that one precise shot is worth more than 100 desperate attempts. Millionaire traders think exactly the same way. They know their greatest weapon is not speed. It is selectivity. Every time they ignore a weak setup, they protect both their capital and their confidence. Every time they remain patient, they strengthen the habit of discipline. The broke trader sees waiting as lost opportunity. The millionaire trader sees waiting as risk management. That shift in thinking changes every decision. This is why emotional pressure becomes so dangerous. Imagine you have not made money for several days. Bills are waiting. Doubt begins to grow. Suddenly your mind starts searching for trades instead of allowing trades to come to you. You begin seeing patterns that are not really there. You justify entries that violate your own plan. Deep inside, you already know the trade is weak, but your emotions have become louder than your discipline. Then the loss arrives. And instead of learning patience, you convince yourself that the next trade will recover everything. This cycle repeats until your account reflects the emotional decisions you refuse to control. The market never demanded those trades. Your impatience did. Millionaire traders experience the exact same emotions. They also feel boredom. They also feel excitement. They also feel the temptation to enter early. The difference is not that they lack emotion. The difference is that they refuse to let emotion become the decision maker. They understand that discipline means doing what is necessary, not what feels exciting. Some days that means placing a trade. Other days it means closing the platform and walking away. Both decisions require strength. But for most people, walking away is far more difficult because the ego constantly whispers that missing a trade means missing success. That whisper has ruined more trading accounts than bad strategies ever have. Let that sink in. The greatest opportunities rarely belong to the trader who reacts first. They belong to the trader who reacts correctly. There is enormous power in being able to sit still while everyone else is chasing every market move. That kind of patience cannot be faked. It is built through repetition. Every time you choose not to force a trade, you teach your mind that your rules matter more than your emotions. Every time you wait for confirmation instead of acting on hope, you strengthen your identity as a professional. Slowly, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop fearing missed opportunities because you realize the market will always create another one. You stop feeling desperate because you understand that your future does not depend on today's trade. You stop measuring your value by how active you are and begin measuring it by how disciplined you remain. That is when patience transforms from a struggle into a competitive advantage. This is the gap that almost nobody notices. Broke traders chase opportunities because they fear there will not be enough. Millionaire traders wait for opportunities because they know there will always be another one. One mindset is driven by scarcity. The other is driven by confidence. One creates emotional chaos. The other creates long-term consistency. But even patience alone is not enough, because eventually the market will test something even deeper than your ability to wait. It will test how you respond when fear tells you to run and greed tells you to risk everything. That emotional battlefield is where the next and perhaps most important separation between broke traders and millionaire traders truly begins. Chapter 4. The emotional divide, how fear and greed control broke traders, but fuel millionaire traders' discipline. There comes a moment in every trader's journey when logic disappears and emotion takes control. It happens faster than most people realize. 1 second you are following your plan. The next second your heart starts racing, your breathing changes, and a single candle suddenly feels more important than all the rules you spent months creating. That is the moment that decides whether you continue thinking like a broke trader or begin acting like a millionaire trader. The market is not just a place where money changes hands. It is a place where fear and greed compete for control of your mind every single day. These emotions never disappear. They simply change their disguise. Fear tells you to close a winning trade too early because you cannot bear the thought of watching profits disappear. Greed tells you to hold it just a little longer because maybe this one trade will change your life. Fear tells you not to take the next valid setup because the previous loss still hurts. Greed tells you to double your position after a winning streak because you suddenly feel unstoppable. Both emotions pull you away from discipline. Both emotions whisper convincing stories. And if you are not careful, both emotions will quietly destroy years of hard work. Understand this. Fear and greed are not your enemies. Your inability to manage them is. The millionaire trader experiences the exact same emotions as everyone else. He feels disappointment after a loss. He feels excitement during a winning streak. He feels uncertainty before entering a trade. The difference is that he never allows those emotions to become the person making the decision. He listens to his rules instead of his feelings. That is what discipline really is. Discipline is not the absence of emotion. It is the ability to make rational decisions while emotions are screaming at you. The broke trader waits until he feels confident before following his plan. The millionaire trader follows the plan even when confidence is nowhere to be found. That is why one grows stronger while the other keeps repeating the same painful cycle. Let me tell you something. The market has an incredible way of testing your emotional weaknesses. If you fear losing money, it will tempt you into holding losing trades for too long. If you crave excitement, it will lure you into overtrading. If you desperately want to prove yourself, it will offer just enough early success to inflate your confidence before teaching you an expensive lesson. The market does not create your emotions. It reveals the emotions that were already inside you. It shows you your impatience. It shows you your addiction to certainty. It shows you the uncomfortable truth about yourself that everyday life often allows you to ignore. This is why trading becomes such a powerful form of personal development. Every chart becomes a mirror. Every trade becomes feedback. Every mistake becomes a lesson about the person behind the screen. Most traders never understand this because they keep searching for external solutions to internal problems. They buy another course. They switch to another strategy. They download another indicator. But the emotional habits remain exactly the same. The millionaire trader eventually realizes that no strategy can save someone who cannot control themselves. That realization changes everything. Instead of trying to eliminate fear, he learns how to operate with it. Instead of trying to eliminate greed, he learns how to contain it. Imagine an experienced pilot flying through a violent storm. The turbulence is real, the danger is real, the fear is real. But the pilot does not grab random controls and panic. He trusts his training. He follows procedures. He remains calm because emotion cannot replace preparation. Professional traders approach the market the same way. When volatility increases, they do not abandon their process. They rely on it even more. Their discipline becomes stronger precisely when everyone else loses theirs. That is why emotional control becomes a competitive advantage. It allows you to remain clear while others become reactive. It allows you to protect capital while others chase recovery. It allows you to think long-term while others become trapped inside the emotion of a single trade. The broke trader constantly asks, how do I feel about this trade? The millionaire trader asks a completely different question. Does this trade match my plan? That single shift changes every outcome because feelings change every minute, but rules remain consistent. Feelings are temporary. Discipline is repeatable. Feelings create impulsive decisions. Discipline creates sustainable success. Never forget that. Every major trading mistake usually begins with a small emotional decision that seemed harmless at the time. One extra trade because you felt bored. One larger position because you felt confident. One ignored stop loss because you felt hopeful. One revenge trade because you felt angry. Those moments rarely look dangerous when they happen, but together they slowly build the habits that separate consistently losing traders from consistently profitable ones. Millionaire traders understand that protecting emotional stability is just as important as protecting financial capital. They know that one emotionally driven decision can create days or even weeks of unnecessary damage. That is why they respect their mental state. If they recognize frustration building, they step away. If they recognize overconfidence growing, they reduce risk. They are constantly observing not only the market, but also themselves. That level of self-awareness is what allows them to survive long enough to thrive. The greatest battle in trading has never been between you and the market. It has always been between the disciplined version of yourself and the emotional version of yourself. One wants immediate gratification. The other wants long-term freedom. One reacts to every feeling. The other responds with intention. Every trading day, those two versions compete for control. Every decision feeds one of them. Every habit strengthens one of them. And over time, one of them becomes your identity. But there is still one final transformation that separates millionaire traders from everyone else. It is deeper than discipline. It is stronger than patience. It is the moment when you stop seeing yourself as someone trying to make money and start becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts consistent success. That identity shift changes everything. And once it happens, there is no going back. Chapter 5, the identity shift. The day you stop thinking like a gambler and start thinking like a professional. There is a moment in every successful trader's life that cannot be measured on a chart. It is not the day they double an account. It is not the day they make their biggest profit. It is not even the day they finally become consistently profitable. The most important day is the day they stop seeing themselves as someone trying to win money and start seeing themselves as someone whose identity is built around discipline, patience, and responsibility. That single shift changes every decision that follows. Before that moment, trading feels like an emotional roller coaster. Every winning day creates excitement. Every losing day creates doubt. Confidence rises and falls with the account balance because identity is attached to results. The trader believes, if I make money today, I am successful. If I lose money today, I am failing. That mindset is exhausting because the market will never give you perfect consistency. There will always be losses. There will always be uncertainty. If your identity depends on short-term outcomes, your emotions will always be controlled by short-term outcomes as well. Understand this. Professionals do not behave professionally because they are profitable. They become profitable because they first choose to behave like professionals. That is the order most people completely ignore. The broke trader wants the rewards before changing the habits. The millionaire trader changes the habits first and trusts that the rewards will eventually follow. That is why one keeps searching for a shortcut while the other quietly builds a foundation that cannot easily be shaken. Think about the difference between a gambler and a business owner. The gambler wakes up hoping today will be the lucky day. The business owner wakes up asking how to improve the system. One depends on emotion, the other depends on process. One celebrates luck. The other measures consistency. One thinks about today, the other thinks about years. Which mindset do you honestly bring to the market every morning? That question is uncomfortable because most traders secretly know the answer. They say they want to build a trading business, yet they react emotionally to every small price movement. They say they believe in discipline, yet they abandon their rules after 2 losing trades. They say they understand risk management, yet they suddenly increase position size after a few wins, because confidence quietly transforms into overconfidence. Their words describe a professional, but their behavior reveals a gambler. Let me tell you something. Your identity is not created by what you say. It is created by what you repeatedly do. Every repeated action becomes evidence for the person you believe yourself to be. If you constantly overtrade, your brain begins accepting impulsiveness as part of your identity. If you repeatedly ignore stop losses, your mind starts believing that discipline is optional. If you continue chasing losses, you slowly convince yourself that emotional reactions are normal. But the opposite is also true. Every time you follow your trading plan, even after a loss, you strengthen the identity of a disciplined trader. Every time you patiently wait for the right setup, you reinforce self-control. Every time you accept a losing trade without emotional revenge, you prove to yourself that your character is becoming stronger than your impulses. These moments seem small, but they are changing who you are from the inside. Millionaire traders understand that identity compounds just like capital. One disciplined decision may not transform your account overnight, but thousands of disciplined decisions eventually transform your life. That is why they become obsessed with daily habits instead of dramatic breakthroughs. They know that extraordinary results are usually built through ordinary actions repeated with extraordinary consistency. The broke trader keeps asking, what strategy should I use? The millionaire trader asks a far more powerful question. Who do I need to become? That question changes everything because it shifts the focus away from external solutions and toward internal transformation. Instead of searching for another indicator, you begin strengthening your patience. Instead of blaming market conditions, you improve your emotional control. Instead of hoping for confidence, you build confidence through repeated discipline. Slowly, trading stops feeling like a battle against the market and starts becoming a daily exercise in self-mastery. There is another truth that very few people want to hear. Becoming a professional trader often requires letting go of the identity that has kept you comfortable for years. You may have been the person who constantly seeks excitement. You may have been the person who acts on impulse. You may have been the person who believes bigger risks always create bigger rewards. Those identities cannot survive if you truly want long-term success. They must be replaced by a new version of yourself. A version that values consistency more than excitement. A version that respects risk more than reward. A version that understands that protecting capital is not a sign of fear, but a sign of wisdom. This transformation is not glamorous. Nobody applauds you for closing your laptop without taking a trade. Nobody congratulates you for following your risk rules on a boring trading day. Nobody celebrates the moments when you quietly choose discipline over emotion. Yet those invisible victories are the ones that eventually produce visible success. The market rewards what the world rarely notices. It rewards patience, it rewards preparation, it rewards humility. It rewards emotional stability. Those qualities become permanent only when they become part of your identity instead of temporary motivation. Motivation disappears. Identity remains. That is why millionaire traders no longer rely on feeling inspired. They rely on routines, they rely on structure, they rely on habits that continue working even on difficult days. They know they cannot control the market, but they can always control the person looking back at them in the mirror. That realization becomes the turning point. Once you stop asking the market to change your life and start asking yourself to change your habits, everything begins moving in a different direction. Your confidence no longer comes from winning trades. It comes from knowing you can trust yourself regardless of the outcome. Your peace no longer depends on profits. It depends on discipline. Your identity is no longer built around chasing success. It is built around becoming the kind of person success naturally follows. And once that transformation is complete, one final realization remains. It is the realization that separates those who spend their lives chasing profits from those whose discipline eventually causes profits to chase them. That final lesson is where the entire journey comes together and reveals what it truly means to think like a millionaire trader. Chapter 6, the final transformation. Becoming the trader who no longer needs to chase profits, because profits chase discipline. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine two versions of yourself standing side by side. One version wakes up every morning, checking account balances, searching for predictions, hoping today will finally be the day everything changes. The other version wakes up with complete clarity. There is no desperation. There is no anxiety. There is no obsession with getting rich overnight. There is only a quiet confidence built from thousands of disciplined decisions. Both versions have access to the same market. Both have the same 24 hours in a day. Yet only one of them will build lasting wealth. The difference is no longer strategy. It is no longer knowledge. It is who they have become. This is the final transformation. It is the moment when trading stops being a way to escape your life and starts becoming an expression of your character. Most people never reach this stage because they remain trapped in the cycle we have been talking about from the very beginning. They chase money instead of mastery. They protect ego instead of learning. They force trades instead of waiting. They react emotionally instead of following discipline. They continue acting like gamblers while calling themselves investors. Then they wonder why consistent success always seems to belong to someone else. But the truth is much simpler than they want to believe. Consistent success belongs to those who become consistent people. Let that sink in. Before the market trusts you with larger opportunities, it quietly watches how you handle smaller ones. Not because the market has emotions, but because your habits always reveal your future. If you cannot protect a small account, a larger account will only magnify the same mistakes. If you cannot control your emotions with one position, you will never control them with 10. If you cannot remain disciplined during ordinary days, extraordinary opportunities will overwhelm you instead of rewarding you. That is why millionaire traders never become obsessed with bigger profits. They become obsessed with becoming better decision makers. They understand that results are a delayed reflection of daily habits. Every journal entry matters. Every risk management decision matters. Every trade they refuse to take matters. Every time they respect their process instead of their emotions, they are quietly building a future that most people cannot yet see. Think about building a skyscraper. Nobody admires the foundation because it remains hidden beneath the ground. People only celebrate the finished building. But without that invisible foundation, the tallest structure eventually collapses. Trading works exactly the same way. The world notices profitable traders, but it rarely notices the years of emotional control, painful mistakes, disciplined routines, and personal growth that made those profits possible. Everyone wants a skyscraper. Very few people are willing to spend years building the foundation. That is why the final transformation feels invisible at first. Your account may not immediately explode with profits. Your friends may not notice any difference. Your lifestyle may look exactly the same, but inside something powerful has changed. You no longer panic after a losing trade because your confidence is not connected to one outcome. You no longer celebrate winning trades as proof that you are special because you understand that one trade proves nothing. You stop riding the emotional roller coaster that once controlled your life. Instead, you begin operating from a place of stability. Stability becomes your greatest advantage because while everyone else reacts emotionally to every market movement, you remain focused on execution. You remain focused on probability. You remain focused on consistency. That is where real confidence is born. Not from always being right, not from never losing, but from knowing that no matter what happens today, you will still follow your process tomorrow. Let me tell you something that every millionaire trader eventually understands. Freedom is not having a perfect strategy. Freedom is trusting yourself. It is knowing that your discipline is stronger than your impulses. It is knowing that your patience is stronger than your fear of missing out. It is knowing that your identity no longer changes because of temporary wins or losses. Once you reach that level, something remarkable begins to happen. You stop chasing profits because you are too busy protecting your standards. Ironically, that is when profits often begin to grow. Not because the market suddenly became easier, but because you finally stopped making the emotional mistakes that had been holding you back all along. The market has always rewarded disciplined behavior. It simply never rewards it instantly. That delay is where most people quit. They expect immediate validation. They expect overnight success. They expect one strategy to solve every problem. Professionals understand that lasting success is earned through repetition, not excitement. They embrace the delay because they know every disciplined day is another brick placed in a foundation that cannot easily be broken. Imagine looking back 5 years from now. One version of you is still searching for secret indicators, still blaming the market, still hoping the next trade changes everything. The other version has become calm, patient, and financially stable because the person behind every decision changed long before the results became visible. Which future becomes reality depends on the choices you make after this moment. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Every trade from this point forward is an opportunity to strengthen the identity you want to carry for the rest of your life. Every decision either reinforces discipline or reinforces emotion. Every habit either moves you closer to financial freedom or quietly pulls you further away from it. The millionaire trader is not someone born with special talent. The millionaire trader is someone who repeatedly chooses principles over impulses, process over prediction, patience over pressure, humility over ego, and consistency over excitement. That is the real millionaire mindset. It is not measured by the size of a trading account. It is measured by the strength of the person managing it. Thank you